Namaste. I welcome you all for for the presentation of my paper on hydrotherapy practices in ancient India. Coming to the introduction as such, the hydrotherapy is considered as internal or external application of water on the body at different temperatures and different forms for maintenance of the health and treating the disease. The practices which are considered as routine in the ancient India, like washing hands, drinking water, taking bath, are considered as protective measures. These protective measures are being evolved and modified into different remedial procedures in hydrotherapy. So the knowledge of hydrotherapy was very much prevalent in ancient India. So coming to the Indian civilization which has developed in the bank of the river Sindhu, the Vedas or the ancient texts which appreciate the medicinal property of the water, and they say water as apa. Water or the apa is being worshipped in reality or symbolically, and many of the verses in Veda they mention about it. The ancient religious thought had progressed from physical to spiritual plane. Virtually, we can just tell that it is from the realistic, natural view of the nature into the ethical, philosophical, and psychological view of nature. This has developed a concept of Panchamahabhutas or the five great elements. The Panchamahabhutas, that is Prithvi, that is earth, Aap, water, Tej, Agni, then Vayu, air, and Akasha, space, they are responsible for the evolution of the nature. So, Vedas and Upanishads, they explain the systematic evolution of these five great elements. Among these, water is considered as the primordial substance which is responsible for the existence of the life according to Rigveda. Rigveda has a separate section called as Apasuktam, where it says that water is the source of our lives. In the verse Apo Janayata Chanaha. So, this particular concept of having life in water is considered as auspicious, and this particular concept of life in water gives the water a status of mother. So it says that yo vaha shivatamo rasastasya bhajayatehanaha ushatiriva mataraha. What does it mean is the auspicious sap of water cares like mother. So water is given the status of mother because mother knows how to maintain the harmony in the health and how to bring back to the health state whenever there is diseased or disharmonied state in a person. The Yajurveda in the verse 17.36 says that water can be given the state of cosmic water. So, the cosmic water has the ability to partake the life in the universe fully. So, water is given the status of cosmic water here. And Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, it says that the element earth sustains all creatures, and earth is being sustained by water. The water gets transformed into herbs and vegetations, and they in turn become flowers and then fruits. These flowers and fruits support the creatures. That means to say, all the creatures, they are sustained by the water itself. So, when we say about the sustenance of the life, the source of the water is being taken care and it is treated with utmost respect. In Taittiriya Upanishad, it quotes that one should not cause urine and stool in water, should not spit in water, should not take bath. So, in the same way, in Yajurveda, verse 6.22, it is said that Ma apo himsi, ma aushadir himsi. That means the water should not be spoiled and even the medicinal herbs should not be spoiled. In Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, we can just say that there is imposement of the God in air, water and fire. And it says that men should have reverence for them. Atharva Veda, it cautions about the punishment for the person who dirties the ponds, lakes or rivers. So, Atharva Veda clearly states that waters are to be freed from defilement. In Rig Veda, in the verse 6.39.5, it is said that waters and herbs should have no poison. So here pollution of water is considered as poisoning. So the subject of water here, it is being evolved in different planes, like it is being evolved in the plane of medicine, plane of philosophy, plane of spirituality. In many of the texts, ancient texts, it is also being evolved cosmologically and evolved poetically. So water has different dimensions of explanation. So coming to the need for the study, the knowledge of medical property of water was inherent among ancient India, but the use of water as a medicine remained unadorned or unexplored. So, in this study, we have referred the ancient Indian literature such as Veda, Upanishad, Ayurveda, and traditional treatment methods, exploring the knowledge of hydrotherapy, because it is the need of our that the hydrotherapy is explored and modified as an independent treatment method, or it is used as an adjuvant therapy in many of the therapeutic procedures in modern era. So our study will help to revive the hydrotherapy in ancient India, which can be a great contribution towards diagnosis and treatment of the disease through hydrotherapy. Coming to the concept of medicinal property in water, Atharva Veda says that water is beneficial to us irrespective of the source from which it has been available from. So, here the beneficial effect can be considered as maintenance of the health itself. The Ashtanga Sangraha says that there can be no life without water, and world is predominantly watery, both in health and in health. So both health and ill health can be maintained or treated respectively by water alone. Coming to the concept of health, according to Charaka and Sushruta, Sushruta says that health is the balance of all bodily functions in equilibrium with mind. According to Charaka, health is a condition which is the best source of virtue, wealth, gratification and emancipation. So, the diseases are destroyers of this source of welfare and life itself. Here, the primary treatment whenever there is disease is through water. It is being mentioned in Kathopanishad that every person, even if he is a guest, he must be treated first with the water so that he can he can maintain the health and take care of himself in the beginning. That is why Kathopanishad says that the water is the primary treatment. Coming to the role of water in health and disease, according to different texts, Rigveda says that there exists no better element than water, and water has precious treasures, so it can be used as healer or it can be used as a removal of all ill health. Atharva Veda in its 6th chapter, the verse 23, 24 and 57 mentions about the medicinal value of water, and it explains water as dispeller of diseases and curer of incurable diseases. The first sutra in Apas Suktam of Rigveda, Apo Hishta Mayo Bhuvasthana Urje Dadatana Maheranaya Chakshase, it says that water imparts us with vigor and strength. So it is known to relieve the weakness and degeneration, or kshaya as it is called. So these verses in Vedas and Upanishads, they say that water can be considered as universal remedial agent or Vishwa Beshaja, because in the Apasuktam it is said that Apsume Soma Abravidadanta Vishwani Beshaja. That means all medicinal herbs of the world are water. So water can be considered as universal remedial agent. So exploring more verses about the emphasis of water in herbs, we can just say that in Rigveda, it quotes, water is abundantly filled with medicinal herbs and helps to protect the body so that one can live long. Even in Taittiriya Upanishad, in the verse 1.7.1, it is said that water is present in all medicinal herbs of the world. Atharva Veda treats water as a first place in curative medicine, because water gives strength and it expels the disease. So water is considered as remedial. Atharva Veda also calls water as nectar or amrita indirectly. It says that the mythological divine drink which makes gods unaging and immortal. Yajurveda calls that water is nectar and God. So the God is considered as the Brahman itself. Yajurveda also described water for eye problems. Even now in daily life, we see that many of the eye problems are being corrected just by washing the eyes. So, Kaushika Sutra of Atharva Veda, it calls water as a skilled physician. In Kaushika Sutra, there is a documentation of the usage of medicinal herbs. So, Kaushika Sutra says that herbs are medicinal because they are the products of water. So, water occupies the place of a skilled physician. Water can be used as a rejuvenation. Water can be used in the rejuvenation therapy that is Rasayana Chikitsa, because rasa is considered as sap of water. Vedic texts consistently use rasa in the sense of water, and in Atharva Veda it is said that apam rasaha, that is apa itself is rasa. So this apa, when it is being used in disease condition, it helps in putting away old age, resisting of the diseases and bringing the immortality. There are two different other verses here which says that apa is considered as rasa here. So rasayana therapy can be considered as a treatment based with apa or the water. Coming to the hydrotherapy as such, the healing properties of water, it depends upon the physical property and chemical property of the water. This Susruta Samhita in the Sutra Sthana, the verse 45.3 says that water dropping down from sky has no taste and no odor. That means the physical property of water is being observed here. So, having no taste, no odor, and physical properties like adhesion, cohesion, viscosity, lubrication, all help in plants and human beings for the movement of the joints, movement of the muscles, and movement of the internal organs. The chemical properties like osmosis, electronegativity, hydrogen bond, ionization, all these help in transportation, elimination, and nutrition of the body. So, the combination of physical property and chemical property which is inherent in water makes water a good remedial agent. These characteristics of water is being called as divine characteristics by Rigveda. So it is called as Apo Divya. So Apo is considered as the substance which can help in the world to maintain the health. Coming to the remedial property which is being explained in hydrotherapy, there are three properties which are being mentioned. First one is absorbing and communicating property. Second one is change of state. Third one is solvent property. Coming to the first property, that is absorbing and communicating property. According to the concept of Indian philosophy, as explained in Vedic age, water gets divided into minute particles due to the effect of sun rays and wind. Then it ascends in the atmosphere by the capillary of air. So the absorption of the water was recognized here in different verses. So it actually says about the hydraulic cycle in the atmosphere. And in the same way, when water is taken internally, water is divided into minute particles and it will be absorbed into the system. So Rigveda says that when water is being absorbed, it gives the nutrition. Apo yachami beshajam. Rigveda also says about the prayer of Muni Atreya to Parjanya, that is son of heaven, where it says that both water and earth becomes capable for the welfare of the water, welfare of the whole world when water drops down from the sky. So, in summary, we can just say that the absorbing and communicating property of water helps to maintain the body temperature, digestive activity, and nutrition of the organs in the human body. Coming to the next remedial property, that is changing of state. In Linga Purana, it is said that Tadeva Parivartate, that means this water will be recycled, in the sense it will change from one form to the other. You cannot just lose the water, or you cannot just produce the water. That is what Linga Purana says. So there is a change of state from the solid to liquid, then from liquid to gas. Each one of these have different remedial properties. When water is being used as a solid, it has hemostatic effect, that is stoppage of the bleeding. When water is being used in the liquid state, it has tonic effect, that is increasing the activity of the organs. And when it is being used in the form of gas or the steam, it has got sudorific effect, that is sweat producing effect. So here the water has been used in different states with different effects. The Rigveda also says that tripartite nature of Agni is being combined with and compared with three forms of water: celestial, atmospheric, and terrestrial. The verse Mahabharata says that water will be extracted by the sun rays, and sun rays will help for the rain next again. So the duration of extraction of the sun ray water by the sun rays is also 4 months, and pouring of water back in the form of rain is also 4 months. So there is change of state. Coming to the third property, which is responsible for the remedial properties of water, is solvent property. So in Chandogya Upanishad, we can just see that there is demonstration for the disciple Shvetaketu, where there is mixing of salt in the water. So the solvent property of water was known at that time. And the solvent property of water, it helps in the metabolic activity of the person, taking care of elimination, transportation, and all the processes like osmosis. The water and the mind are being related in the Vedas. It says that all the wicked tendencies in a person can also be taken away by the water. The Varuna, the deity that dwells in waters, is prayed for granting strength and virility to the people. In Rigveda, verse 63, it said that water is considered to be a purifier, life giver, and destroyer of evil. In Rigveda, in verse 8.1, it is said that water makes us feel more happy by driving away diseases and pains. So, this is the summary of the remedial properties of water which is being explained in hydrotherapy. The absorbing and communicating property is being supported by the concept of dividing into minute particles in different Vedas and Rigveda. The change of state is being supported by Linga Purana, Rigveda, and Mahabharata. Solvent property is being supported by the references in Chandogya Upanishad and Rigveda, different verses of Rigveda. Coming to the different therapeutic modalities of hydrotherapy, they are baths, packs, irrigations, douches, and compresses. Coming to the baths as such, we are very familiar with the cold bath. See, all the religions, they say about the ceremonial purity. So it is very compulsory to take bath for maintaining the personal hygiene, as well as to have the proper participation in the ceremony. So in Hinduism, 3 times of bathing is being advised, and any defilement is being countered by taking bath. So the bath is considered as the internal purifier as well as external purifier. In Rigveda, verse 9.1, it is mentioned that deeply entering into water will produce shining of the skin in a person. In Rigveda, it is mentioned that there are different depths of ponds which can be used for bathing. In Sushruta Samhita, the effect of the cold water is being mentioned as it is much helpful in treating the diseases like epilepsy, excessive body heat, imbalance in pitta. It helps in treating blood poisoning, problem associated with the excessive consumption of wine, the state of unconsciousness, exhaustion, vertigo or dizziness or nausea. The cold water is contraindicated in pain at the sides of the chest, catarrh, rheumatism, disease of the larynx, distension of stomach by gas or air, cases of undigested feces, acute stage of fever, just after the exhibition of any emetic or purgative remedy. It is also contraindicated in severe cough, acute cold, vata diseases, sore throat, gastritis, constipation, dysentery, nausea, hiccups. So all these are being mentioned in Sushruta Samhita. The steam bath and sun bath are mentioned in Ayurveda as Swedana and Snehana, which are the part of Panchakarma. Sea bathing and river bathing were also advised as a hygienic procedure in Hinduism. There are different auspicious days where sea bathing and river bathing can be performed compulsorily. The local baths like foot bath, it is known to improve the eyesight, and foot bath is recommended for curing acute headache, insomnia, disorders related with the blood pressure. Coming to the other hydriatic modality, that is water drinking, it comes under irrigation. It's said in the Apasuktam that Shanno Devirabhishtaya Apo Bhavantu Pitaye, that means the auspicious divinity will flow into a person when the water is drunken. Then water is drunk. So water therapy is considered as material way of taking an internal bath. Drinking water early in the morning for about 1.5 liters on empty stomach is considered as Usha Kala Chikissa. Sushruta Samhita, it says that rainwater beats the disparities caused by Vata, Pitta and Kapha. It offers vigor, augments the 7 building materials of the body known as Saptadhatu, which enhances the brain activity. Chanakya Niti says that the right or the suitable food in indigestion is water only, that is the hot water. Charaka Samhita says that there is only one type of water falling from heaven, and when water falls from the heaven while falling and also after having fallen from sky, it acquires different properties depending upon the time and space. So according to the region, according to the time, and according to the place, we can just say that water can get the different qualities. So this water can be used sometimes for cleaning and sometimes for treating. So one more sutra here from Sushruta Samhita says that water produced in the cloud has no taste or no odor. It is absolutely pure and beneficial like nectar. It gives and sustains life, quenches thirst, cures wounds caused by weapons, etc., and relieves the pain. It revives the consciousness of those who faint due to fatigue, gives clear knowledge, removes drowsiness and burning sensation of the body. The Gruhya Sutra, that is Vedic domestic rites and rituals for the householders, mentions about washing hands, taking bath, wearing wet cloth in pack, or sipping of water as a part of many rituals. So, Sushruta Samhita also says about the quantity of the water which can be used for drinking. When water is used in high quantity, it says that food doesn't get digested or assimilated. So, moderate quantity of water drinking helps in good appetite. Low quantity of water drinking is being advised in loss of flavor of food, heartburn, edema, any of the wasting diseases, weakened digestion, abdominal dropsy, skin diseases, fever, diseases affecting the eyes, ulcer, and diabetes. Sushruta Samhita also says about water drinking in relation with the meals. So, if water is taken before meals, it dilutes the digestive juices, and after the meals, it causes the obesity. So, water should be taken during the meals in little quantities so that it can help the digestion. The next treatment modality is fermentation that comes under compresses. So it also has the reference in Sushruta Samhita. It explains about 13 types of fermentation with indications and contraindications. At the time of fermentation, it is very much necessary to protect the body parts like eyes, heart, and testicle, as they are very sensitive. Proper preparation of the person for the fermentation is very much necessary, and fermentation should be continued till person gets the sweat over the area. The indications of the fermentation are cold, stiffness, heaviness, and pain. So coming to the therapeutic effect of the water is considered as Bheshaja or the medicine because it helps in maintaining the health, protecting the body, and live long. So it is being told in the Apasuktam, Apapranita Beshajam Vartam Kadme Mama Yokcha Suryam Drishi. So it means that, oh water, you are abundantly filled with medicinal herbs. Please protect my body so that then I can see sun for long or live long. So whenever the water is therapeutically being applied in hydrotherapy, it is very important to consider the temperature of application, area of application, quantity of water used, duration of application, mode of application, activity of the person, ability of the patient, and season and the combination of water treatment with other treatments. So the approach becomes very, very subjective whenever it comes under the prescription making in hydrotherapy. To conclude, I would like to say that water is an integral component in the medicinal arena. It is definitely a part of curing symptoms and uprooting the cause of disease. Water is called as Jivanam, which says that there is prana dharana, that is life existing. So the word Jivanam shows its importance in life. So water is broadly found in scriptures as an utter necessity in bathing, that is snana, drinking, pana, cleansing, saucha, relieving treatment, chikissa, hospitality, upachara, farming, krishi, and offering tarpana. So all the activities are around the water. In modern era, Mahatma Gandhi had used water therapy effectively to treat many people to take care of their ailments on their own. Water is thus comprehended as the elixir of life. Water is utilized while preparing the medicines as well as while consuming the medicine. So, when prevention, treatment, and maintenance of health becomes a divine responsibility of the person, we need to consider water as a good remedial agent. In this regard, the knowledge of ancient scholars on usage of water as medicine will bring the peace, happiness, wealth, long life, and good health for everyone. So I would like to conclude with the verse 3.111 of Krishna Yajurveda, which says that Apo Vai Vaishajam. Thank you. Thank you, one and all.